Okay, so welcome to the third session of Ask Me Anything. So we actually have two sessions before lah, but for those who are new to this session, right? So it's essentially Ask Me Anything, but of course, not really anything lah. There are some boundaries lah. Okay, so previously, right, this session was only available to those who sign up for $40. So because of that, right, I don't really have a lot of people. Hence, I allow everyone to unmute their mic lah. But even then, no one really spoke up. They just type and ask their questions. So but for this case, right, we do have a slightly larger number of people. So to prevent everyone from speaking at the same time, right, I am going to mute everyone lah. You can type your questions on the chat instead, and I will read it out. So like I said, it's not really ask me anything. So a few things to take note. Please don't ask anything personal. So anything with regards to trading lah. And of course, if there are certain questions that I feel is not appropriate for me to answer, then I will not answer. And the most important is there is no asking me what I think about certain counters. So that is a big no-no. If not, everyone will come here to ask what do I think of this counter, that counter, and then this whole thing will become a trade setup, something like that. Okay. So yeah, so my goal is just to get to know people who are registered into my Patreon, or those who have intention to come to the course, or those who are using my Patreon but maybe struggling a bit on don't know how to deal with certain things, stuff like that now. Okay, so a very casual session now. Okay, so this session is recorded, meaning you will be able to view it once I post it up on once I post the recording. So even if you miss future session, right, not to worry, it will be posted publicly lah. So if in the future you are not subscribed, right, you will still be able to view all the videos from Ask Me Anything sessions, but the only downside is that you will not be able to attend live, and you will not be able to ask any question lah. So that's basically about it. So yeah, so let's start. Let the questions start rolling. I will be here until 10:30 lah. So I will answer question until 10:30. Then after that, I will stop the session. Wow, really? Nobody? Also shy? Usually my normal session, a lot of question ones. Suddenly everyone's so shy. If you're too shy, then I will log off early, and I will sleep one. Okay, first question from Vincent. Currently, with the tension of US and HK, even with your screener showing some positive counter, would you still trade? Yes. So, for most of you all might already know, I am 100% technical trader. I don't really care about fundamental news or any kind of news for that matter lah. If a trade, if a chart meet my trade setup, I will trade it regardless of what the current situation is. So the thing is, if let's say everything is bearish, uh, if everything is bearish or whatever, right? Like the whole market is red running down, then most likely is that my scanner will not give many counters, and most of the counters my scanner give majority of them might not give a proper trade setup. Maybe they are like a neutral setup. You can still force a trade if you want to, but most likely it will not be good to trade lah. So as long as my scanner is giving me charts with good trade setup, right, I will definitely take the trade regardless of how the overall market situation is lah. So one example that you can see is back in somewhere around February and March, right? Market was somewhat sideways, and you can see that at that period, I reframe a bit from trading. You can see the number of counters start to reduce. The number of trade setup that I post reduced quite a bit lah. That is mainly because my scanner start to give less and less counter for that period. And even if they give certain counters, right, I don't really find the trade setup optimal. You have to remember that the scanner itself is just to shortlist a bunch of counters, but you do have to personally go into this counter one by one and see whether the chart can be traded or not. So it doesn't mean that the counter, my scanner show 10 counters, right? All the 10 counters you can close your eye and chung in lah. It doesn't mean like that. Yeah, so I will still trade regardless of what the market news is lah. Um I don't really let the news decide whether I am trading or not, but rather I let the chart decide. If the news is somehow favorable to my trade, then good, so be it. If the news is unfavorable, then I just don't care about it. Next question from Marcus. Does volume rate or green bar affect price action decision or just refer to colorless bar? Okay, so to be short, the volume doesn't really affect my price decision. You can essentially put the volume color to like the same color, just gray color everything, right? It doesn't affect it doesn't affect my trade decision. Next from Wei Fei. Can I check payment arrangement, right? 3K is one shot or face by face? Okay, so the 3K is actually unfortunately is one shot lah. And it usually the payment is come with initial deposit of $500. That is mainly for you to sort of secure your slot lah. When you pay that $500, right, you secure your slot, and after that, maybe 1 week before you start the course, start the 3-month course, you will pay the remaining 2.5. So the reason for the deposit is that I usually open up the registration about 2 months before the actual course date. So what I want to prevent is people saying that they will come and then last minute they decided not to come, because my class is very limited. Each class only have 5 people, so I cannot afford people quitting last minute. Hence the $500 deposit lah, to make sure that they do turn up lah when they say they will. So the remaining 2.5 is of course is given, like as I said, 1 week before the course start date. So it is like I say, it is not going to be face by face. It is like a one shot thing, because my whole course is one package, and I cannot have people coming for the first 1 month, then pay 1,000 for example, and then decided not to come for the next 2 months. So my arrangement, it is not that way lah. So yeah, $500 deposit first, then 2.5K 1 week before the course start. Next from Desmond. How you normally close your US trade? Using sell limit or adjusting stop manually upwards? Okay, so this one is a bit tricky, because depending on what kind of brokerages you use, right? Sometimes you can just place a stop loss and you can keep shifting your stop loss very easily. But sometimes if you are using brokerage like Tiger, right, you need to put a stop what do you call that, stop limit order. Yeah, you need to put a stop limit order, and the stop limit order, it has to be a good till cancel a GTC trade lah. And unfortunately for Tiger, right, it doesn't have a one cancel the other order. So you are either forced to put a stop loss order, or you are forced to put a TP order, you cannot put both because certain brokerages doesn't allow that, and it is quite tricky lah. So what I normally do, right? If given a choice, I will always put a stop loss order because stop loss order doesn't need to shift. So once I put the order there with a good to cancel, right, the order will be there forever lah until I cancel it. So how I manage TP, right, is that not many of you might like this, but I have an alert on my trading view. So once the price hit the alert on my trading view, I will get a notification on my handphone, which is a very loud noise. So I will wake up at the middle of the night or whenever the alarm go off, right? I will close my trade. Unfortunately, that's how I'm managing because US is very volatile. Sometimes if you are not able to TP when it hits, right, by the time you wake up, the price don't know go where already. So that's how I usually manage lah, which is why, right, you don't really see me trading a lot of US. But if you have access to OCO order, or if you have a very simple stop loss order, right? I do suggest that you put your TP level to my first TP level first. After price hit the first TP level, then depends on whether you TP everything or you choose to leave a bit behind. Then that if you choose to leave a bit behind, right, then that little small part that is remaining there, you can trail it, you can do a trailing profit. So that's what I can recommend right now. But in my course, right, we have a very structured, we have a very systematic TP strategy that we use to ensure that not only we put cash in our pocket, but we also make sure we are able to ride the trend as high as possible lah. Next from Teo Hans, may I ask for US still? Since TP has not reached and now the price may have gone back to entry, can we still enter? Yes, the answer is you can still enter, but a better question to ask is, do you want to enter that or not? There could be like a lot of other good counters that came up since US Steel. US Steel was actually way back in like I think January. So from January until now, right, there's actually a lot of other trade setup coming up. So it is a question of whether like do you still want to enter US Steel since there are a lot of other choices. If you want, then you can definitely still go for it lah. And of course follow the stop loss strictly lah. Next from Kelvin, what are the perimeter of your scanner? Can share? Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't share the perimeter of the scanner. If I share that, right, it's like I'm giving my rice bowl for free lah. I can share the result of my scanner for free, but not the perimeter for the scanner. The only reason why my scanner result is posted as a screenshot on Patreon is because I do not wish to scare the parameters lah. Although I'm more than happy to share the result for free. So really sorry about that. Next from LN, I like to know if your open trade reverted a few percent up after you receive SL alert. Do you still proceed to submit stop loss trade and tiger? Okay, so this one very this is a very good question. Stop loss, right? I will always have a stop loss order, meaning the moment it trigger, it will be cut off. So I do not wait for things like, oh, wait for the next 1 hour, or wait for the candle to close, or wait for this, wait for that. Because what if price go down? Then after that, you thinking that, okay, maybe I wait for the candle to close first. Then if it close back above the stop loss, then good law, you won't stop loss law. But most of the time, what happens is that sometimes the price might just fall all the way and then end up, instead of taking your stop loss, right, you might end up becoming a long-term investor and holding that counter. So that is a very real thing because most trader, right, most new trader, right, that's how they turn a small loss into a very big loss because they choose to gamble. They choose to gamble that perhaps price can go back up. So let's say let's say for one trade, you choose to wait for the price to close. And after the price close, it is indeed that price close back above your stop loss. Then you tell yourself that, oh, yeah, so actually I should have wait for price to close lah. But what happened is every single trade, every other trade that going to hit the stop loss, right? Are you going to keep doing that? Because if you keep doing that, you will going to get one or two situation where the price just drop all the way down and you are going to incur that very, very big loss. And that very, very big loss is cannot be recovered from. So I do not negotiate with my SL at all. The moment it hit, right, I am out already. It doesn't matter if it close back up end of the day or whatever. I don't care about those. As long as the price hit stop loss, I am out. Next, what from Kelvin? What is some trade hover between SL and TP never hit any level? Will you close the trade after some time? Most of the time I don't. Actually, all of the time I don't. I just let it stay there. So the question here is that if your trade has been stuck for so long and you feel that since this one stuck, you don't really you want to go and trade something else. Your question is probably more leaning towards perhaps since your capital is stuck in a counter that is not moving, right? You might as well exit and go and trade other things that could have moved. So the issue here is that uh the issue here is, of course, is very simple. That is, you do not have enough capital. If you want to trade more, you should add more capital rather than exiting your trade lah. Because what you are trying to do is, number one, you are trying to predict two things. And in my course, in my trade, right, I go through what I mean by prediction and how prediction is a very not a good way to trade lah, where someone try to predict something will happen and then he or she go all in and then end up taking a big loss, that kind of stuff. But when you try to exit a counter to enter another counter, right, you are predicting two things. Number one is that whatever counter that you are stuck in, right, it will remain continue to stuck. So that's the first prediction that you make. Then the second prediction that you make, right, the new counter that you enter, it will definitely go up before the first counter start to go up. So that is two prediction. So for that kind of action to make sense, right, both of your prediction must come true, which is a not a really plausible situation if you are looking at in terms of statistic. However, if you choose to stay in your original trade, right, you are sort of not really predicting anything. You are just waiting for it to start to make the movement. And in fact, right, if you trade for like 4 5 years, right, and if you keep exiting one to keep entering another one, right, you are going to end up a situation where the moment you exit the one that you exit move up, then the new one that you enter is still stuck there, and you end up chasing here and there, and then what you incur is a lot of commission. So it is best that you stick to it. If you do not have any more capital, then so be it. Don't need to do anything. I have been in many even right now I am in such a position I have my cash is being used up. I have zero cash left. There are a lot of things moving left and right every day, but all my position that I've entered are still open, and I have no, I'm still holding US still. I'm still holding what are some of the counters that I'm still holding US still. I'm still holding 9天, which almost hit the TP but went all the way down. I'm still holding those. And there are PayPal I'm still holding, Netflix I'm still holding. So all these counter has been like 1 2 months already. I'm still holding lah. And if you all saw the most recent my portfolio post that I posted, despite all the holding, right, I am still able to get a 17% return in the first 3 months lah. So it is really the discipline is there lah. Because if you start exiting one to chase another, right, when will you stop? When will there be a stop sign? You will keep doing that lah. And as it become a habit, right, as it become a habit, you become more and more impatient. You enter already 2 3 days later doesn't move, you start to quit and you start to chase another. So initially maybe you are patient enough to wait 1 month, but after that you become impatient, you wait only 3 weeks, you wait only 2 weeks, then you wait only 3 days, then it's a bad habit lor. Next one from Desmond Ayo. The to benefit fully from trade up, is there a recommended okay, so Tiohan, can I check, are you registered, are you subscribed to Patreon or haven't yet? Because if you are subscribed to Patreon, oh, you are subscribed, okay. If you are subscribed to Patreon, right, there's actually a post that there's an introductory post that teaches you how much quantity to trade. You can go and find that post. It is like it is in the pin up post. I actually pin up one post and I link all the important posts that you have to read first lah before you start to take the trade. And in one of the posts, right, there is actually a way to calculate how much quantity you should trade. No, no worry, no worry. I think it's something that most people miss lah. Desmond again. Do you know any broker that provide OCO orders and also low comms? Okay, so one of the brokerage that I can recommend aside from Tiger, if you wish to trade US market, right? IB is quite good. IB is quite good. IB you can simply just set a stop loss order and then you are good to go. Like you can set both stop loss and TP order. And the commission for US is comparable to that of Tiger lah. So I am actually sign up for IB because I want to try out the US using IB lah. I think it will be a less painful on my part to keep waking up in the middle of the night to TP. But I'll probably start trading US with IB, and Hong Kong, Singapore, I will still stick to Tiger. Now market from Vin, now market is very volatile, so the odd of hitting SL to is higher to that of TP. This is very, very hard to say, mainly because no matter how volatile the market is, right, my stop loss in my trade setup, they are calculated with the volatility in mind. Meaning if it is a very volatile moment, you will see the stop loss very wide. If it is not so volatile moment, you will see the stop loss much narrower. So my stop loss has account for this volatility already. So I don't think the odds of hitting stop loss is higher or what, but rather I don't look at trade in a small window like that, but I look it at a larger number, meaning within 1 year, what is my SL percentage? I will look at it in that manner. I don't look at within a short period, because within a short period, there's too much noise. So sometimes really sway, right? You can get hit with SL for no reason. Also sometimes really unlucky, you price can just hit your SL and then run all the way back up, or sometimes if you are considered lucky, the price hit your SL and continue all the way down, which is good because you managed to stop out lah. So I think this question I can't really answer, because sometimes even though my stop loss is set with the volatility in mind, right? There are times where you just cannot like escape lah. It will just hit nonetheless lah. Which is why in trading, right, we cannot we cannot put all the egg into one basket. If your stop loss is hit, you have your risk management to sort of make sure that you don't lose so much, and all these kind of thing layer on top of one another to ensure that you have a overall profitable trade portfolio lah. From Marcus, no, I have not tried TD AM trade before. Yeah, I mean, I do heard of it that US counter are commission free, but I have not really tried before yet. I do have a lot of people recommending me, and I will check it out lah. But so far, I have not tried it yet. Other than hitting a SL, is there any other indicator we use to exit a trade? This one from Jack. So what you are trying to say is, other than hitting SL or TP, because if doesn't hit SL, then TP is the one that will exit the trade lah. If you are talking about hit, not hitting SL and not hitting TP, stuck somewhere in between, right? I think that answer to that question was explained earlier already lah. Just now someone asked what to do with counters that are stuck between SL and TP and not moving at all. From Tiohan, can we buy call option based on your trade setup? 9 seconds. Okay, this one, right, is okay. First I will admit that I don't really I'm not really very experienced with options. I mean, I know how they works. I know how generally they work lah. But I don't I have not trade with options before. And so if you are going to, because trading stocks, like you have a stop loss price there lah, but with options you have your expiry date and the strike price, the strike price in play lah. So because of that, right, I will really say that is up to you already lah. Because if you realize most of my trade, right, they have a very, in terms of the time frame, right, is quite unpredictable. Some trades within 2-3 days hit the TP. Then there'll be some trades that stuck there for like 2-3 months. Then after that, then hit the TP. So for example, let me show you. Let me show you one. This is Full Empire. Okay. So Full Empire, the first trade setup actually came out here. So I was actually stuck here for this long. From September until like January. That's like close to 3 months like that. Then after January, this whole thing just shot all the way up. Then on the other end, I have counters like, sorry, I have counters like Southern Alliance, where within like 1 day it hit both the TP already. So it is quite my holding time frame is really, I would say, not as predictable lah. So I do want to caution yourself there lah. But whether you want to buy options or not is really up to you already lah. I can't give advice on something that I'm not experiencing, but I can tell you certain factors that you should know about my trade setups. From Michael, how do you determine which counter is suitable for re-enter? Okay, Michael, I need a little bit verification on this question. Re-enter as in you already taken profit but you want to re-enter again? Is that what you're asking? Already TP. Okay. Yeah. So let's say if you hit the counter, you already TP, then you are looking to re-enter again, right? So the criteria for re-entry is the same as the criteria for the first entry, meaning somehow it will probably have to show up in the scanner sometimes. And when it show up in the scanner again, it has to meet the certain criteria that I place, that I have for myself, but before I enter the trade lah. So one of the example that I can show you, right, is actually on Union Gas. Let me bring up Union Gas. Okay, I can't remember all the then okay, Union Gas. So the very first trade setup for Union Gas came in here, somewhere here, this one. But bear in mind that during this time, right, I don't think I think during this time my Patreon is up already. My Patreons are up around October like that, October like that last year. So during this time, Union Gas show up on my scanner. I entered here. Then I think somewhere along the way, it shows up on here, then it shows up here, then it shows up here, it shows up here. So then from there I can keep entering lah. I think the biggest example that I can actually show you is high P. So high P already privatized lah, but for high P, right, the very first trade setup came here, came on my scanner somewhere around here. It also came on the scanner once again somewhere around here. Then it came up again somewhere here, and then it came again like somewhere here. Then eventually it got privatized. So in order for me to re-enter, right, it has to show up in my scanner again lah, before I take the trade again. So what you can do on your part, right? It is that whenever you TP a counter, you don't take it off your watch list. You put it somewhere in your watch list. And let's say if I post a particular trade again, right? And if you look at your watch list, hey, like you have this trade before, then you can choose to so-called re-enter also. So I will always put any kind of new entry as a brand new entry lah. I don't look back to see whether I have entered this before, so I'm going to enter again. That kind of every entry is taken as a new entry lah. But once again, there are very specific TP strategy that I teach in my course, which have the whole TP thing is it's not easy. TP is a very complicated thing to master. Stop loss is easy. Stop loss is you are looking back on past data to find a suitable place where price will not hit. But TP is in the future, anything can happen lah. So not only anything can happen, right? You don't want to TP too soon. You also don't want to TP too late. So you need to find that optimal range. It is not a easy thing to do. So there are a lot of complicated strategy that is involved lah. The only thing I can tell you is that the only hint I can tell you is that when you TP, right, do not TP fully, leave a small amount behind, and you let that small amount ride. And eventually, if you have a proper strategy, right, that little small amount can go up to the point where the profit will overtake the bigger chunk that you TP beforehand. So that's how we usually deal with TP in my course lah. Next, from Kathleen, what is the difference between risky setup and wide stop loss? Okay, risky setup are trade that I will deem slightly risky. So the riskiness can come from a few factors. Number one, the counters have very low liquidity. If it has low liquidity, right, you don't want to enter too much. Actually, Southern Alliance had low liquidity when I first posted it lah. If meaning if you want to sell, right, it's actually quite hard to sell because there's no one buying. That can lead to a risky trade setup. And secondly, if it's a counter trend trade, there will be a risky setup also, which is why you can see that for SIA there was a risky tag there lah, because if you look at it on a midterm, right, yeah, it is actually a counter trend. And usually these are the two things lah that I will deem risky. A wide stop loss setup is that the stop loss is very wide from the entry. It is much wider than usual. It means, as I mentioned earlier, it tends to be the result of that the counter is too volatile. If the counter is too volatile, right, if consider this kind of movement, maybe you have a counter that is going up like this. So this one not really volatile compared to this kind. This one is much more volatile than this one. So if you are trading this, right, you can enter here and you can set your stop loss here. So it's very narrow. But if you are entering this kind, right, you have to enter here and you have to set your stop loss here. Then this one is very wide. So when a counter is more volatile, right, you need to set a wider stop loss so that you don't get flushed out by this kind of wide retracement. And if you look at um, if you look at US still here, right, you can actually see that the entry was here. It actually retraced all the way back here, and hang the stop loss was there lah. It almost touched and then it start to recover. So that's what I mean by wide stop loss. You have to be, the reason why you have to be mindful of wide stop loss is that try not to place big lots, play too much position, big lots, because if that big loss hit your stop loss, right, because your stop loss is so wide, right, you are going to lose a lot more money. Okay, wait, let me, where's the chat? Oh no, my chat disappeared. Okay. Shopify also now between EP1 and EP2. Shopify hit TP ready leh. If I'm not wrong, Shopify hit TP ready. I think it hit TP quite sometimes back. Yeah. So normally, if a counter hit TP and then it goes all the way back to the original entry, right? I try not to re-enter those. I try not to re-enter those. I only re-enter if it is going higher and higher and higher lah. If it hit TP and then come back down, right? Then I won't go for the second entry lah. I won't go for the second trade. Okay. Any more? Currently is 10:17, so there's still 13 more minutes. Can elaborate more on the Nimbus indicator. Okay, so the Nimbus indicator is if you all saw the update, what it essentially is a trailing, it's a TP indicator lah. So normally for those who do trailing loss, right, let me put up let me bring up a counter, uptrend counter. So normally those who do trailing loss, right, it's like price move up, you shift your stop loss up, price move up, you shift your stop loss up, price move up, you shift your stop loss up, correct? That's how you TP with a trailing loss, right? So that's exactly what the Nimbus indicator is. It is a trailing loss, but with a very specific formula inside lah, where as the price move up, right, the indicator will go up also, but there will be at one point the price will hit the indicator. The moment the price hit the indicator, right, it means you should exit 照了. But there are specific ways and method to use this indicator. I did not create this indicator as a for free for all use, because it has to be used properly. It is not just you enter and then simply just look at the indicator like that. No, it doesn't work like that. There is specific things that you need to know before you can successfully use it lah. And currently, as of this moment, those things are only uh, taught in my course, which is why currently the only people who have access to this indicator is those who came from my course lah, or those who will eventually be coming from my course will have access to this indicator also. Because if you do not know how to use and you anyhow use, right, it will cause you more harm than give you more profit lah. But of course, in the future, I will be putting up sort of like a tutorial, and the indicator will be released as a something like a monthly subscription or something like that. I'm still figuring out how to get this indicator to work in a way where it doesn't require so much prior knowledge to it before people can start using it. From Michael, how do we look at risk reward in Nimbus? You previously mentioned not based on single trade. Okay, so risk reward is a very, I would say, a slightly misguided tool that people use to determine whether if someone is profitable or not. So, what if I ask you, what is the risk reward number that you think a good trader should have? Yes, of course, more than one. Definitely, but you can have a risk reward less than one and still be profitable. For example, let's say I tell you that there's a trader that have a risk reward of 5. That this one trader have a risk reward of 5. But the thing is, the reason why he have 5 is that he made his trade here. Sorry. Okay. The reason why he have risk reward of 5 is that he make his trade here, then he hold it for the entire here, and then he TP here. So he hold it this portion lah. So his profit is a lot. His risk is like a bit only. But because of this, right, perhaps in all his trade, he is only able to get like 4 or 5 trades, 4 or 5 such trades lah. So perhaps in 1 year he only make 5 trades. But all the 5 trades he is able to get a risk reward of 5 lah. So is he really a successful trader compared to another guy who risk reward is 0.9? But this guy, right, he actually have a winning percentage of 80%. Meaning he win almost 80% of all his trade. So it doesn't matter that his risk reward ratio is less than 1, but because he win 80% of his trade, right, he is still going to end up extremely profitable. In fact, he's going to make a lot more money than the guy with risk reward 5, because his winning percentage is much higher. So the key factor the KPI okay let's talk in corporate terms. The KPI that we are looking at, right, is not risk reward, is also not expectancy. If you all are not familiar with expectancy, right, you can go and search up a bit. So expectancy, it also include your winning percentage, meaning it calculate what is your winning percentage, it calculates how much your win-loss ratio is, and then it gives you an expectancy. So expectancy is a much better um measurement on how successful a trader is. But even then, right, even then, expectancy is not really a good indicator also, because expectancy doesn't include how often someone trade. So like I said, right, a trader can have an expectancy of 10, but that person only make 2 trade per year. That's why he has an expectancy of 10. But another trader can have an expectancy of 2, very low, but he make 30 trades a year. Meaning the guy with 30 trades a year and expectancy of 2, right, is going to have earn much more money compared to the other one with a expectancy of 10 but only make 2 trades per year. So expectancy itself is also not a very good indicator, because it doesn't include the frequency of how much trades you take. So there's a lot of all these risk reward ratio, expectancy, Sharpe ratio, all these, right? We do really need to go dive a little deeper and understand what are they exactly telling you lah. Because I have quite a wide variety of trader in my current training. Some of them have a risk reward ratio of about 1.2, but this 1.2 guy actually made a lot more money than the person with a win loss risk reward ratio of 5, mainly because the 5, right, because he is so engrossed in having such a high win loss ratio, right, he is very scared to take trade. He does not take a lot of trade. But the one that is having a risk reward ratio of 1.2, right, it's okay, he take the loss whatever, but along the way he make much more money because he have much more trades, and his winning percentage is a lot more higher also. So it really I do have quite a wide range of traders depending on how their characteristic is. And the good thing is that the Nimbus Capital trading strategy, it doesn't force you down a one path lah. It really accounts into what kind of trader are you, and we play according to your strength, and we sort of build you according to your character lah. For example, if someone like to trade a lot, I can't suddenly force them to, hey, stop trading so much, go and take lesser trade instead, or what. So we sort of, I sort of try my best to ensure that traders sort of retain their characteristic, as long as it is not a very toxic habit that can make them lose money lah, but they do retain their personal style of trading lah. Yes. Okay, 10:27. Last question. Well, last one. Then I will end the session. What do you do when stuck in raging market? Okay, right now I'm actually stuck. All my cash is like 0, meaning I have taken all the position I want already, and none of them are hitting TP or SL their stuff. So what so what do I do? I'm not sure if this the answer, that you are looking for lah. So what I do is I do actually have a forex account with $1,000 inside. I play like mini lots, just to like I don't know, just to keep myself occupied lah. And like if I win like $20, $30, then good lord, and then I get my free dinner for the day or free cab ride lah. Or suppose if something drastic happen, my entire forex account gone, right? Then at most I lose $1,000 only lah. So I mean if you are really like you, I mean I can understand lah, because trading is in a way sometimes we want to do something also, like cannot help lah. So sometimes I just do something that is totally unrelated from stock, that is like moving in by themselves at another side. So forex is one, and I try to like sort of build my, I don't know, some my like set my trading thirst lah by playing forex. And I mean, even though it's a $1,000 account and I win 20 $30, it's not so much compared to stock, where usually my win loss is in the range of 2,000 3,000, where compared to forex maybe like 100 200, right? That actually the win loss amount doesn't matter, it's just the winning that make you feel good lah. So I just do that. Yeah, crypto exactly. Sometimes now I'm considering crypto, not because I want to earn profit there, but it gives me something to do on the weekend lah. Okay, yep, just nice, 10:30. So thanks everyone for coming for this session. So for those who are not subscribed to the Patreon, unfortunately this will be the so-called the only free ask me anything session that you will get lah. Because next month onwards it will be only available for the paid one already lah. But previously it was available for $40 only, but now everything is reduced to $20 one single tier lah. So I mean, if during all this period, right, if you feels that the information is helpful, or you make some profit, or what or whatever, right? I mean, you can try it out for another month. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe anytime lah. Okay, thanks everyone for coming. Have a good night. Yes, it's a tough month. I actually incur about close to $6,000 of unearned income. Good night.